What was your first British bike?
First British bike was a Norton 850 Commando, which I still have. I bought it new in 1974.
Fantastic.
In the next year, I was 19 years old, and I rode the thing from South Carolina, stationed in the Air Force at the time, out to California, up the Coast Highway, and back. And then in '83, I met Tom Hill, you just talked to, and we rode it with two other guys. One was an expat Brit living in Atlanta. Another guy was from Virginia, another photographer. We rode out to Flagstaff, Arizona for the Norton Rally. And '88, Tom and I rode up to the Virginia Rally. And then this past June, he and I rode up to Michigan for the Norton Run. This time, I had a 64 750 Atlas, which is, he still had his 71 Commando, which he rode up, but I had the Atlas and I rode that up, and that's not made for that sort of thing, but it ran fine.
Comfortable?
No. No, it's not comfortable, but
Numbing on the hands?
Oh yeah, yeah. It took quite a while for the get feeling back in my fingers. The doc says vitamin B is good for that. And I said, okay. We put on some rallies. We put two on in Georgia, up in North Georgia and Hiawassee. We put one on 4 years ago in Asheville, North Carolina, which is a very good rally. I own in addition to that, was a Commando. I've got a 62 650 SF. It's in my garage, and I've got a 1957 Model 19 single, big old 600cc single, but it's in boxes. So I got to do something with that too.
Great.
Yeah.
So you obviously go to barber.
I go to barbers to sell. I'm actually a dealer. I bought out several Norton shops that were trying to get rid of their parts over the years. So I've got a shop of my own.
Great.
And I've been over to England and gone to the factory and so forth, and have a relationship with several distributors and so forth.
And now you mentioned one of your friends from '85. That's over a 35-year relationship you have. As a hobby, has motorcycling been a great hobby for making friends? It sounds.
Oh yeah. It's. I'm a commercial pilot by trade, and I know most of my friends were motorcycle people. And the main thing is you run into so many walks of life. I run into people who are just dirt poor, and I run into guys that live in a summer mansion, winter mansion, and so forth. And we're all the same down here. Wonderful. And that makes it so great about it. And especially the Norton people are just terrific.
And obviously you must do the majority of your own work on your bike too.
Yeah, I just don't do machine work. That's the only thing I don't do.
And as a hobby, you'd recommend it for somebody getting into it? What advice would you give somebody who was thinking, boy, British motorcycles would be a good hobby?
Be prepared to work on the bike. If you can find people to do work on it, but the shop charges are just outrageous. I mean, they have to be, because people got to pay rent and make a living out of it and so forth. I worked on a guy's Triumph a while back, and he saw I've just got this one little problem. He had several problems. He was in for almost a $2,000 bill just for me. He had problems with the brakes, and he had a transmission issue, which turned out to be a lot more serious than we had thought. So, if he had done it himself, he would have been out of there with a tenth of the labor is what really killed everything. And you gotta, if you're ready to work on a bike, if you're not too much into spending, these are great hobbies. The British bikes are relatively easy to work on if you go into the right tools, right attitude. Like, I'm not going to bodge everything up. Most of the problems I have on these bikes are somebody has decided to take a shortcut. I can't get this part today. I'm not willing to wait 2 days. I'm going to screw it up, and it costs like a couple $100 to screw up to fix what would have been a $20 fix. But I've seen people, we have, like, on the Commandos, there's rubber-mounted oil tanks, rubber-mounted mufflers, and they go straight mount, and then they break the reason they're rubber-mounted is because the engine's rubber-mounted, and it'll break the exhaust pipes, and those aren't cheap. It's a very, very easy fix to fix these.
And so somebody who was interested, what bike would you advise them would be a good bike, and what bike would you say, don't go after that bike?
I, people are going to get mad at me. Stay away from the Triumph, the British triples. Stay away from the Vincent unless you just made a money. The Vincent has several problems over the years. It can be made reliable. It costs a lot of money to do that. The Norton Commando, the Triumph, particularly the Triumphs, the 650s, are absolutely wonderful bikes to restore a lot of parts for them. A lot of expertise. Pretty universal. The Norton Commandos, to a lesser extent, the Atlas and Zero ones, a lot of the parts are interchangeable, believe it or not. And the Norton to own, as far as the Commando ride and everything, I tell people once you get a Norton, you throw rocks at the Triumph as far as riding it. But a lot of people like the Triumph better. I've always liked the Nortons better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where do you find bikes these days? They're getting really hard to find.
They're getting hard to find. They're getting expensive. Everybody thinks they're going to get rich with their selling their Norton or their Triumph, and so the prices are up there. And they're starting. The worst part is they guys will throw something together that is junk. It's got a bent frame or some major problem, and they try to sell it as a viable machine, and people don't know any better, and they buy some crap machine, which is the main thing I tell people to watch out about. Get somebody's opinion on it.
Spend a couple of $100 having somebody like you check it out.
Yeah.
It's going to save way more than a couple of $100.
Oh yeah.
This is 74. This is 74. It's right before they